Good morning. Or maybe I should say hello. There is an argument for that, I suppose, right? Okay. You know what? 20 sec. I think it's fine. Let's go over to this screen. It's my face. And let's get straight into it. Let's go look at this one. Okay. So, let's get all the admin out of the way and then we can get going. So first of all, boss Crocodile implementation. Start. Now, you'll notice I worked on this another 2 hours yesterday after stream. This was in the afternoon. Because I enjoy working on the game and I want to get things done, right? So, I decided to go and play with it a little bit more. So what did I do? Well, I basically cleaned up the animations a little bit, right? So there were some issues with the hammer in the hands, right? So while he was swinging, it will kind of come out of one of his hands, or while he was running, it didn't follow the one hand good and perfectly, or something like things like that. I'm not quite sure why that is happening. I haven't had this problem with any of the other characters. Although most of them are use one-handed weapons, so maybe that's the thing. So there's a bit of an issue there, so I had to go and fix that manually, and I did, and it took a while. We also did pull in a new Crocodile model, one that had a separate bone for the tail, so that I could also clean up the animations with the tail specifically. So these animations are for humanoid characters, and obviously the addition of the tail makes them less humanoid, and that causes some issues, right? So that obviously makes, especially clipping, the tail goes through the floor all the time, right? So that's a problem. Okay, but it's looking good now. So let's just see what else we have to do. So we basically still... Okay, we need to make the player collide with the boss and add a bunch of controllers, right? I also broke the boss a couple of times yesterday during all this. We got a new hammer for the boss, right? So much better looking hammer than that pink one that he used to use. Also, I bought me some bundles. So there was a cool humble bundle for Cynthia. Now, I don't really use Cynthia per se, but this one included a meadows biome, which looks kind of amazing, especially for things like the textures for the ground. So I used their ground textures instead of the one I drew in paint, and I think that'll really looks... Well, I mean, it looks a bit nicer, I think. I wish I knew why I can sometimes zoom a lot and sometimes not at all. Okay, but the main reason I got this pack is because of the included VFX. So there was some cool visual effects, and I can show them off to you. Let me show you my new visual effects. If Unity would like to load in. Okay, so you'd see this is still the crocodile that we worked on yesterday. So, yeah. So the tail doesn't really clip through the floor anymore. I also fixed up some of the other attack animations that we haven't used yet. But look at this. So if you run to this side of the screen, or to the side of the map, it's actually raining a little bit. I think that's a pretty cool effect, right? It's a small little thing. They have like leaves falling and stuff like that as well. But I think this is pretty cool. Right, so nothing major. But obviously this Synthy pack, it has like I said, one of the biomes. The meadows biomes, which includes a lot of ground textures and grass and bedded trees and things like that. Especially, like the trees look very nice. So I'm thinking of using that for the future. Okay, but we need to get this boss working. Yeah, so one of the things we need to do is we need to make the player collide with the boss, right? So that is not too difficult. This thing already has a capsule collider, right? So that's good. And I believe all we need to do is we need to add him to a layer. So we have an enemy layer. I wonder actually, so if we go into the code for the player movement, right, we can see that we look for collisions with walkable, enemy building, and nature. Okay, so if we make a collision for enemy as well, we're not sure what that would do with the small enemies. Right, so, but let's try it. So we get the enemy mask as well, so we now collide with the enemies. Now I think it might cause some issues, because the way this thing handles movement, or the collision at least, is when you hit an enemy you kind of stop, right? You don't push anything away. Well, you kind of stop. Or when you hit something you stop. And it's literally stopping you by changing your move direction to 0. So this is probably gonna not do what I want it to do. Yeah, it's not gonna do what I want it to do. Because when I hit them now, I push them out of the way. So, because they can't stop me. Yeah, they can't stop me. And but I also don't want to be able to move through the boss enemy specifically. So perhaps we should make the boss enemy have his own layer. So we add a layer and we'll call it the boss enemy layer, right? And if we go into this movement thing, we can simply add this again and call this boss enemy. So now we can't move through the boss. We collide with him. And I don't think we can push him out of the way. Right? Which is fine, right? I think that is okay. I don't want this to happen with all the other characters, but for the boss, it should happen, right? Okay, so we got that. Now we can just make him a boss enemy. Guess we can change to children. Okay, maybe we don't change the children, actually. Yeah, let's just make the main boss. Yeah, the main one, because these trigger areas, and if they become boss enemies themselves, that could cause a problem, right? Okay, so let's just see how this looks. Okay, we could take the Robin. Yeah, so we can't run. Can't run through the boss. Okay. Okay, now the only other thing we need to do is, well, eventually we'll have to do this, is all the attacks and things for the characters. You need to set them up as well so that they actually do attack the boss enemy. Because it's now a new kind of layer. They currently just look for enemies and maybe enemy buildings, I think. Can't remember what the totems were. Enemy building, yeah. Okay. That's fine, and I don't have to worry about that right now. So we can't collide with the boss anymore. So we can take that off. Or we do collide, we're not running through him anymore. Whoopsie. Okay, now we just need to continue with all the animations and logic and stuff like that. Okay, so he's running towards us. He runs towards us, he hits us with the hammer. That's all very nice. But now, you might remember that we said this guy has multiple attack animations, right? So he's got this one as well. And he's got one of these. Okay. And he's got 3 more trigger areas. Now, these trigger areas control everything about the attacks. So let's think about this. Right, so the first attack, I think I wanted to have cooldowns. Right? And I think I incorrectly made the cooldowns work in the animator in the past. Yeah, you can see we still have stuff here. So that doesn't make too much sense to me anymore. So basically what we want to do here is we want a way for the trigger So we need to think about how we do this. So either we can have this trigger fire at certain points. Or yeah, so this trigger fires, it comes here and basically tells him to look, let's go attack. Okay. So that's fine. We are in the attack state. Now, once we enter the attack state, we should think about which attack can we use, right? So in the attack state. Animator, let's go to attack. Okay, so we might have to change this behavior over here, which just takes us straight to attack 1. I wonder if these work as ands or ors. I think they're ands, right? So this and this needs to be true. If you add a second trigger, that's that or that. Yeah. Okay, so let's just go one up. So we go to the attack state if is attacking is true. Right? Okay. Is attacking is set by your animator. Okay, so when we go to state attack, is attacking is set true. Now, we do need to figure out let me think about this a bit. Whoops. Okay, so we set attacking true. Now, that could be fine, right? That could allow us to go into the attacking state. But we need a trigger or something. Something like a trigger to basically go from just inside here to one of these. Maybe. I don't actually know. What we could also consider doing is just having an empty state, which is like a waiting area. Right, and effectively what that does is it just goes into the waiting area. And then as soon as one of the attacks become true or available, like one of the integers, it can move further. So if we just create an empty state, for instance, okay, and we say make transition, and let's say default state, and like something like this. Okay, so this is now the default. Okay, and then we make a transition there, there, and there. And then we potentially get rid of these ones. Okay, that means we can come in here and we are attacking, right? And then the question becomes, do we do attack 1 and then potentially chain? Or do we do one of the other two? Okay, and I need to go to the restroom. Be right back. I'm back. Okay. Let's drink some coffee. Okay, so let's think about this a little bit more. Okay, so the thing is, I could do this a couple of ways, right? I could do the empty state thing. I could also do... I wonder if I ever really want to do the chain. Because the chain kind of makes things complicated. Just, right, for a start. And if I don't do the chain, what I can kind of do is I can just have the 3 triggers trigger one of these. Right, so... yeah, so what I could do is something like, we can do, okay, well, is the tracking must be true, and the attack number must be equals 1, for instance, right? And this is just an empty state where everything just goes by default. So, and then what I'm thinking is that when the attack trigger fires, so let's see how this happens. So the attack trigger fires, and it's like, okay, cool, attack 1 was invoked. That means the attack 1 trigger is equal to attack trigger. Okay, so that's just basically true or false or whatever. So we send attack 1 trigger, which is true. Now, for instance, to the manager. Okay. So we only send it once, right? And so we send it once, and that is when the attack fires initially. Okay, so then we should attack. Let's think about this. We attack, and then we start a cooldown. Yeah, so we set the state to attack, and the animator we should probably have inside the animator, I'm just thinking, something like a public void set attack number, and it should take an integer attack number, right? And all this thing does is it does CBE animator dot set, whoopsie, as set int, yeah, set integer attack number to the attack number, right? Yeah, so this needs to be called by something at some point. So what we can do here, not here, in the manager, because this thing I don't think has access to that directly. Yeah. So in the manager, this is triggered. Okay, so we can ask, well, we can just tell the manager, okay, cool, if the attack 1 was triggered, we can call the CB not only just the state machine, but the animator, and we can do set attack number to 1, right? Because this is attack number 1's event. So now we are in the attack state, and we set the attack number to 1 doing this. So that's fine. But now at some point, the attack number should be reset. Okay. So basically we should set the attack number back to something else. I'm just thinking about this. So okay, we set the attack number to 1, so attack 1 will happen. Then at some point we should be able to change the attack number to maybe 2 or 3. The question is, could we change the attack number to 2 or 3 while attack 1 is still playing? I think the answer should be no. So we want to kind of have attack number 1 finish before we reset, or we could set a new attack number. Now, we could have timers managing all this, or we can use the animation to reset the attack number, for instance. So we could say something like, attack numbers can only be set if the current attack number is equal to 0, for instance. So let's see if we can find that. If cbe animator dot get, can we do a get integer? It seems like we can. Attack number. Right? So that should get the attack number for us. And then we can do something like, if this thing is not, well, actually is equal to 0. Ah, jeez, what am I doing? Okay, so only when it's equal to 0 can we set the next attack number. So equal to 0, and we can maybe do or attack num is equal to 0. So basically what this means is that if our attack number is 2, so we're doing the second attack, we can't actually change it unless we have a attack number of 0. Then we can change it to 2. Now let's say our attack number is 2 and we want to reset it to 0. That's not a problem. We can do that because this is also possible. Okay, so this is kind of the way I'm thinking about it. And now what we can do also is we can go to our animator or animation, so attack 1 for instance, and we can be like, okay, cool, so we have this start doing action key there, and we have the stop doing action, right? So we do stop doing action there, but you know, that helps keeping track of some things. But let's say, you know, at the end of attack 1, maybe here we add another key. So that obviously helps us specifically. So we could, in the stop doing action function, reset the attack number as well. Yeah, let's try it that way. I kind of like that. And let's move this one a little bit over, so somewhere there. Okay, so we can go to the stop doing action function in the warrior animator events. Okay, so I have to stop doing action. Okay, so that's start doing action, sorry. Stop doing action. Okay, cool. So then we can say attack. Well, we want the animator attack number to be set to 0. So we could do... Wait, do we have the animator in here? Manager, attack trigger... We don't actually. Interesting. Serialized field, private, CBE animator, let's call it animator, and then we can do here. So stop doing action, we can do animator dot set attack number to 0. If you think about this, every time we stop an action, we just reset the attack number just in case, right? Just in case. Okay. And what we can do just to check if any of this works. We can do a debug.log. Okay, so let's just do debug.log attack number. So this should be 0 initially, right? The first one that it logs would be 0. Then it should be able to set it to 1. Okay, but let's just see if we can. So we set it to 1 by the manager, so it sets it to 1, no problem. And then at the end, it's back to 0. Okay. And now, since this trigger won't necessarily happen again, we should stay in the attack state, but not trigger this again. So we're not going to actually do set attack number again. So let's just see how that works. So I have a feeling it's not going to be as intended. It'll do what I'm expecting it to do, but that's not necessarily... Okay, let's just put the animator in there. Okay, and let's give it a go. So it'll do something. It's not necessarily going to do the greatest things. It should basically attack once and then break. Okay, so he did an attack right there. Okay, Mr. Crocodile. What's up? What state are you in? Okay, I don't know why that needs to happen, but anyway. So is doing action is true. And he's in the idle state. Okay, that's broken. Okay, so attack 2, attack 3. Okay, so I don't think we actually fixed all these. So let's just do. Is attacking must be true. And attack number must equal 2. And then over here we have to is attacking true and attack number equals 3. Okay, so he has this weird empty state now where I guess this won't work because we're not doing the layers. Yeah, but this is now the default transition. Maybe we just make the default transition okay. This is gonna fight me now. Yup. So the empty state thing works if you're doing layers. It's kind of annoying. Okay, so these need to be at least... Just make an empty state without a motion. Unless we add the idle state again here. So we can have the idle state here. And then make that the default transition. And then transition like this. For instance. I mean, this feels terrible, but anyway. So let's just say no exit time. No exit time. And no exit time. Okay, and let's just get the first one. So we can do attack number equals 1. And attack number equals 2. And finally, attack number equals 3. Okay, something like that. So now we should be able to get in here and just sit in idle. And only once these trigger do we go from idle to doing an attack. So that's attack 1, from idle to doing an attack. Okay. So that seems reasonable. Right, I just want to see something. So our idle animation I don't think it calls any strange functions that could break anything. Yeah, no, it doesn't. Okay, let's just test it like that. So let's just see. So the empty one was kind of messing it up, where it was just falling into the floor and stuff like that because it didn't know what to do, so just like kind of resetting. But idling shouldn't make it do anything strange, right? Takes out the thing, runs towards me, attacks, goes into idle. It'll continue looking at me. Now if I walk away, yeah, he stays in idle, right? So he doesn't, because he's still in attack. Yeah. So he's currently not changing state out of attack. Oh, that was interesting. Yeah. So let's just look at some of these and see if the behavior is what I believe it is. So he shouldn't be doing an action, that's right. He's some distance away, and I think hammer is drawn, state is attack, right? Now, if I move away, his state changes to running. The running animation doesn't play though. I know why. That might have something to do with the animator now. So basically we get stuck in this thing. Let me see just how do we exit here. I think it's just a default exit here. So we could say that, look, if we are in attack, so we got into attack, right? So we're here, but we can't do anything else. Then you know we can exit here. Wait, this is transitioning to idle. Okay, we could do that. We could just transition to state, idle, idle, and the reason for this would be is attacking is actually false, right? So I think that'll work already. Let's have a go. Whoa. Okay, he takes out his weapon, he comes, he smacks me. Now, he's not able to smack me again because the attack number was reset to 0. But I can re-aggro him. Yeah, so this is 1. This is not. Let's put debug here. Yeah, so doing action is off. Yeah, that's just the draw timer. Okay, so he's still in attacking because we didn't switch off the attack, right? We move out here. He should be able to run towards us now. Yeah. Okay, so there's one more thing we need to change, and that is just the... Oopsie. Doesn't have exit time. You can straight go into this. Okay, cool. So now all we need to do is while we're in attacking, right, we could change one of the... well, we can basically change our attack numbers at some point in time, right? So let's see. Let's see if we can make this work for attack number 1. So attack number 1 triggers. Okay, that's fine. Now, we need to be careful because we don't necessarily want to trigger it again, and by doing so, we change the state. Or we could. We just need to make sure that the attack trigger, the thing that we send, is still true. Then we can do this again, right? Yeah. So we need some kind of a timer, right? So some kind of a timer would require us to have a few things. So we'll have to go here, and we need an attack. Let's just call it private. No, float attack 1 cooldown. So let's say it has a 2-second cooldown. Okay. Cooldown. I'll just call it the maximum cooldown. Maximum cooldown. Right. And then we just need private float attack 1 timer. Okay. And then I think we need a private boolean attack 1 on cooldown. Okay, so we just have to check. Look, is it on cooldown? Yes or no? Do we have a timer in sec? So that's just the amount of seconds, and that's the maximum. Okay, and we might have to make the first one a serialized field, I think. I just hate it when the autocomplete doesn't want to work for you. Okay, something like that, and then in update, we can do if our attack's on cooldown. Okay, we want our that's not how you spell attack. ATTACK1. Oh, okay. We want attack. What? Okay, plus equals time dot delta time. Right, so we make this thing go up. And then we say if attack 1 timer is greater than the maximum, then we switch the cooldown off and we reset attack 1 timer to 0. Okay, so we start back at 0. And at start, we could also just say, look, we are not actually, so let's be explicit, we are not on cooldown and we are on 0 timer. Okay. Now, what we can also do over here is we could potentially invoke this again. Maybe. So let's say we invoke it again, right? Two things can happen. We can invoke it, and if it's not, then we set the state to idle, which is not necessarily what we want. Okay, or it's still true, and we can set the attack number back to 1. Okay, I can already see that I'm gonna have a problem here. Just take some water. So the issue is gonna become that both attacks might be off cooldown. Then let's say, so both are off cooldown. Okay, so let's just do this for now. So this is not the greatest way of doing this, I think. So so basically we want to say, okay, cool. We can do all this, but only if the attack is actually off cooldown. So we can do this check. Okay. So we do this check and we're like, okay, cool. Playing character zone is true now, but it was false. So that's fine. But... and we should not be on cooldown. Okay, so only if we are not on our cooldown can we actually invoke this. So this is already going to break a few things. So the first thing it's going to break is that normally this also fires. This also fires when the player exits the attack area. So basically telling the guy, look, the player ran away. Right? So you don't have to... so we trigger it again, because this is the only way we can trigger it, right? Because this is the way, this is the thing sensing it. And basically the player runs away, and we're like, cool, you should go into a different state. But now what can happen is we can hit the player once, we are in cooldown, he runs away, and only once the cooldown has passed would he know to maybe switch and start running after him. That's a bit... might not be an issue. So he hits and he stands around for 2 seconds before he starts chasing. That kind of seems bad, right? Unless we let him chase earlier. So basically we hit him, and then in the movement script we say, cool, are we still doing an action? Basically, okay, if we are not running currently, so we might be in attack or in idle. We're not doing an action, so we've actually finished our attack animation. Even though we are in the attack state, if this guy has ran away, chase after him. So that might actually be fine then. So this might actually be fine. Okay, so we trigger the attack. So we hit him. Okay, so we were not on cooldown, and we did have a trigger. So this could be a negative trigger, which would reset the attack. Okay, so we should do something. This is tricky. So we do a trigger. Okay, so this might be a trigger on or trigger off. So you can think about this. If the player is in the trigger zone, okay, and he wasn't previously, that means we trigger on. If the player has exited the trigger zone, that's false, but it was on previously, we switch it to, okay, so what we could actually just do is check attack trigger. So if attack trigger is true, that means we did hit the player, so that's a true trigger. And our cooldown wasn't active. So we can just basically do if attack trigger at this point. That means that we can set our cooldown to true. So if it was a true trigger, then we set our cooldown to true. Okay, so that makes sense. So let's see him do this. I want to see the behavior. Okay, he hits me. Okay, if I run away, he'll start chasing. He'll hit me and I can still run away. Hit me. He's a bit slow in that transition, right? Okay, if I move out and back in. Okay, so if the main thing now is if I just stand still, he'll hit me and then just kind of chill. Yeah. Yeah, so we never reset the cooldown never actually does anything. So let's see here. Okay, so when we set the cooldown to false, what we could do, I suppose, is run attack trigger as well. Manually over here, right? This is calling it every... So it checks. Oh, I see. Since attack trigger didn't change, it doesn't actually care. Yeah, so even if I'm still in the trigger zone. Okay, so here's another so what I could do is I could just do attack trigger, capital attack trigger. No, I don't need to do that. I need to set attack trigger to false, for instance. So that would mean if I'm still standing there, right? So I'm still standing there, and he's like, okay, the time ran out. We set it to false. Okay, but I'm still standing here. That means these two are not the same anymore. Okay. Since they are not the same anymore, and this is also true now. here we can attack, but it notices this is still true, so it sets this to true. And this happens, and it sets the attack trigger, sends a true signal again. Now, what happens if this becomes false? So I'm out, and this is also set to false. So both of them are now set to false, and this runs out. Now that shouldn't actually matter. Yeah, so in this set, this just sets it back to false. But it was false already. So these two still can't work. Only when I move back into the zone will that work. So we just need to reset this. Okay, cool. So that works. So now he will attack me every 2 seconds. Okay. Let's see that in action. Okay, let's have a go. So he runs to me. He smacks me. Is that every 2 seconds? I have no idea. Let's look at the debug. That's every 2 seconds. Okay, let's make it longer. 13 seconds. Okay, let's make it 5. Yeah, he waits 5 seconds. Make it 0.5. Okay, so it's triggering faster than he can swing. Yeah. So that's unfortunate, right? So 2.5 seconds. Okay, that seems good. So that works. So he's swinging when I want him to swing. Okay. Yeah, and I'm in his range, and when I move and I stay in his range, he's still... So even if I move and I come back into range, he'll still only hit me once the 2.5 seconds run out. So if I run away... There we go. Okay, that's pretty nice. Pretty nice. Okay, so we at least got this to work, and that's good. Now, the next thing is adding the other attacks, right? So, the first thing we need to do is we need to set up this trigger attack with one of these scripts, right? So we're gonna do a CBE attack 2 script. Okay, we already got that script going. Okay, it's got nothing in there, so let's just delete all this, and you know what, let's copy all of this stuff. And then we can start working with it. Okay, so the first thing I just want to do is make this red, for instance, so we just see it at a different color. Okay, this radius can be 1 for now. I might make it, let's make it 1.5. Okay, so it's a little bit larger. Okay, the attack cooldown, I want this to be like 5 or maybe more seconds, so that's fine. So let's see what else we need to check here. So actually don't need to call this. Yeah, we can just do attack timer, right? And here we can just do attack on cooldown. Right, and that's going to be the same over here. So we can just do... And... Okay, so a lot of these timer thingies kind of work the same. Okay. Okay, so what happens here? So now we just wait. We have a different attack zone. So our spear, all our radius and stuff like that's different. Just call this attack radius. Right, so this, all of this is pretty much... And that's our event arguments. So this needs to be attack 2 trigger, which could just be attack trigger. Let's think about this. What did I actually change? I changed that. And realistically nothing else. Yeah, we can even change this. You know what? Okay, let's check something here. Okay, so let's take this thing, for instance, and let's just get rid of all the ones, right? I think the script would work. Yeah, so that'll just be on attack event arcs. Okay. And effectively, okay, attack trigger. Attack trigger. Oh. Attack trigger is just... That's that attack trigger, and this is that attack trigger. Okay. Yeah, so this should just be working, I think. Attack radius. Okay, that doesn't change much. And now, you know what? Could I even rename this and just call it CBE attack? That might be a thing, okay. Some refactoring going on here. Okay, but if we change that, we go over to, okay, Unity is very much compiling. Okay, so we have a trigger area 1. It's got a script CBE attack. Okay, so the script was also renamed. Let's just see where this is. Yeah. So let's check something. So I'm going to remove it from attack 2, right? So remove. And what we'll add is just the CBE attack, right? So now, I mean, these are two separate entities, right? They're two instances. It's the same script, but it's not the same thing. So if we switch on the gizmos, that one is over there. This one is over there, and I can make this one larger if I wanted. Right. Okay. I'm changing stuff now. Apply all. We're changing it here instead. Yeah, okay. So let's just see animations. So attack 1, whack. We can obviously increase that a little bit, the area, and this one, whack. Okay, that's not quite in the position it needs to be, I would say. So maybe over there slightly. Okay, I want this to be a big explosion type attack, so, or it's going to cause a massive, explosion type thingy. Okay, cool. So now what I'm going to try, so I have these two. Okay, we can make the attack timer for that one 2 seconds, and for this one 5 seconds, let's say. Okay, now let's see. Okay, in my script, so my manager. Okay, so it's got a attack 1. So let's just copy this. So we want another one, and this is going to be attack 2. And then I could easily do CB attack 2 dot on attack 1, unfortunately. Okay, so we get that. Okay, so attack 1 and attack 2. Okay, I need to change this. Okay, but for now, I'll just leave it. And then we can basically do something like this. So, attack trigger, if it's true, we set the attack 2, but we just change this number to 2. And the rest should be the same. Okay, we really hope these don't conflict with one another too much. I think this might start conflicting. This set trigger to back to idle. Yeah, I might have to get rid of that one because this is gonna now conflict, because what can happen is we can still be in this attack area trying to do an attack, and then we set our idle animation, so it might conflict. Okay, but let's see if, so we set attack number 2, so we set our state to attack and our attack number to 2, and that should just work, to be honest. I don't think there's anything funny here. Okay, we can also change this to. Wait, what? What did I just do? What is this that I opened here? Okay, just on attack. I think that's fine. So we just do an on attack. So in our manager, this is now just on attack, and we can change this to just be on attack, and this on attack, right? So that just looks nicer. So we just have one script handling the attacks. Now let's see, and this thing will sort out which one gets called and blah 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 based on the. Yeah, we might move this into a separate function as well, potentially. But let's see what this does. So technically, this is quite a big attack area. So technically what I'm expecting is that he should run, and this one is going to hit first, and he's going to execute attack 2. Let's go have a look. Okay, that's a bit interesting. CBE manager has a problem. Oh, I didn't put the attack 2 in there. Sorry about that. What's this? This is a spammer. Okay, let's see. Let's see him do attack 1. Attack 2. Hopefully. Alright, that was interesting. Oh, look at that. He did a combo. Okay, but yeah, right after that combo, he's confused. So that's the animator. Yeah, so he did this into that, and then this is not set up. Okay, normal. Yeah, so we just need these transitions. Wait, this thing goes to idle now. Okay, make transition to idle. And yeah, these don't work. If they just exit, they go to the wrong place. Yeah, so they go out there. Okay, and I guess these will also not work, right? So these should also go. Make transition to there. Idle. Okay, well, let's keep it up there because it kind of is easier to see all the. Okay, let's try that again. So apart from that, I think he's actually going to work now. Okay, he uses the big attack first, and second, and third. Okay, so let's see what's going on here. So if I had to guess, so let's put this in debug mode. And let's look at the gizmo. So I am not in range, so we have attack trigger 1. It's fine. Attack trigger 2, it's fine. That's interesting. So none of these cooldowns. Oh, wait. I need to look at this guy. Okay, so he's basically triggering 1. Yeah, so whenever one triggers, he does that attack now. I mean, he's still smacking me, but, you know, that's not the way it should work. Okay, so let's see. What is happening? Okay, so obviously we come here, and that's fine. That's a thing. So we have the second attack, and we have that. But this... Oh, wait a minute. I need to change this as well. Croc attack 2 has been triggered. Okay, let's just save that. So now Croc attack 2 is triggered. It's also... Okay, so that means we come here, we set attack number. Did we do that? Did we see the attack numbers in the... okay, it was set to 2. 0, then 2, and then it's just Croc attack 1 in manager. Okay, so we never set it back to 0, and I think that's a doing action type problem. Yeah, so if we go to our... not you, we look at our animations. So attack 1 obviously has a start doing action and a stop doing action, right? Which attack 2, I haven't given it one yet. So we need to insert one there. Okay. And, okay, let's just do normal. And then we do methods, start doing action. Okay, and now let's just go here. So he hits somewhere like there is fine. Okay, we add an event. Wait, did I just add 2? Might have. Okay, we do a stop doing action. Okay, and when we stop doing action, we also reset. So I believe, if I remember correctly. Let's just go look at those. No, that's not what I want to look at. I want to look at the script. Yeah, so if we stop doing action, we set the attack number back to 0 actually, and we weren't doing that after attack 2. So that was probably the problem. So let's play again, and let's see. Now, the one thing that's a bit weird is the fact that he doesn't run all the way to... Well, yeah, I think it was the doing action thing. So when that triggers, he kept running. Okay, so let's just select the ranger. Takes out the thing. He's like, la 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 la. Yeah, he runs. Okay, console. Okay, so it only stops right there. He doesn't stop sooner. And in that case, he got confused. So he is like that. It seems like the triggers are working the way they should. Yeah, because if I run now and attack 2 should trigger. Yeah, attack 2 is triggering. But we are not resetting our attack number. So the attack number was set to 2, and then we never reset it again. Okay, let's go to that script. So we should try to set it here. Okay, where are we looking at this? I think it's here. Okay. Yeah, actually, why isn't it printing 0 all the time? So one of these should be true at all times. So even if attack number is 2, the attack number that I'm trying to set it to is 0. So that should be fine. Right, and the trigger... you see now this is where I thought things would get a bit messy. Because these triggers might be now messing with it. So it's setting it to 2. Maybe it tries to set it to 1, but it's still busy with 2. Okay, let's go to the animator. Debug log, and we say here attack number. Okay, so let's just take this one out. So let's see what we are trying to set the attack number to. Now, hopefully this thing doesn't spam me like crazy, but you know, we'll see. Yeah, so set attack number. This should happen whenever we trigger an attack or when we end an attack animation. Okay, so it's just 0 now. Sets it to 2, sets it to 1. Now sets it to 2 again. Or it tries at least. Never sets it to 0 though. That's interesting. Yeah, there's never a attempt to make it 0. Okay. That's probably the problem. So, this is now this guy. So stop doing action. Should do animator.set attack number to 0. Okay, let's just do a debug log. Call this stop doing action. I mean, this must work sometimes because it does set the action to false in some cases. Okay, so let's just do that. Okay, wait, I know what I did. I think I know what I did. So in the animator, in the animation itself, I have attack 2 and I have attack 2 solo. And this thing is triggering attack 2 solo, which does not have any of the things I need. So if I have this thing doing a method, start doing action. Now it should work, right? Because the other one is just used if we do the combo. But we're not doing the combo right now. It's just straight up attacking. So I actually think this changes. This just fixes it, right? Because now this will actually get called. Yeah, so it never sets its back to 0, which means we can never set the other attack, etc, etc, etc. So now he gets to me. It's like wham, wham, wham. Okay, now he never stops doing that one. Oh, there he did it. That's interesting. If I move over here, he'll only use that attack. I mean, that kind of looks interesting, right? He's doing the things I'm expecting him to do, sort of. Okay. Ooh, nice stretch. Okay, so that works pretty well somehow. Let's remove this component and let's add attack again. We'll increase the radius, right? Because this is going to be for this attack animation, right? Yeah. Okay, so the radius might be too big right now. Okay, so let's just make it a bit small. Maybe make it 10. Right, I think 10 is fine. Yeah, that's good enough. We can make it a little bit smaller just so you don't feel cheated. 9. Okay, cool. The cooldown for this one should be like 10 seconds, right? Okay, so this is going to be pretty basic enemy behavior. Because I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking like, you know, I've seen some pretty insane things in the last few years from boss enemies doing incredible attack patterns and stuff like that. We have to be very good with your timing, la 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 la, all that good stuff. You know, like Elden Ring, Dark Souls, those types of games where the bosses are incredibly difficult to beat. They have incredibly complicated attack patterns, and part of the game is you learning the attack patterns and figuring out, you know, how to beat the boss throughout all of that carnage and nonsense and stuff. And building this boss, I'm thinking, you know, this is pretty simplistic. There's no pattern necessarily, right? It's going to be hard for people to really understand why he's doing one attack over the other, right? And he's not really comboing anything that well. However, this is not Elden Ring. It doesn't have to make a lot of sense. It doesn't have to be some perfect attack pattern or something that you can analyze to death and you know, come up with a strategy to beat. We'll be fine just letting the crocodile swing his hammer. Okay, so let's see if we can get this attack to work. Is it going to be as easy as just plugging this into the manager? That would be great. Okay, let's try it at least. Okay, so manager. So just want another one of these. And we'll call this attack 3. Now maybe I can't do this with attack 3. Maybe it's the one that needs a little bit more logic. Oopsie. Okay, something like that. And we are just doing the same thing again, so we might make a function for this. This time it's just a 3. Okay. So basically, something enters the trigger zone. This sets off, but it's got a longer cooldown. Right, 10 seconds. So he's not going to start off with that one. Let's see what this does. Okay, and also let's go to the animations now before we forget. And fix this, because this is obviously... Okay, so we got start of an action somewhere here. Right, so we do one there, and then that could be the end here. So, no. Ah, come on. Okay, start doing action there. And finish with your action right there. Okay, and there's only one of them, so this should work fine. It's not one of those with multiple. Oh, I forgot to add this. No, not there. To the boss enemy. To the manager, it needs attack 3. There we go. Now we can try. Okay, take out our rangers. Let's see. So, okay, attacks like that. Attacks like that again. Attacks like that. Attacks like that. Okay, let's see what our trigger area is doing. Cooldown 10 seconds. Yeah, that's fine. So apparently, so if I do something like this, oh wait, he doesn't do the attack though, does he? Oh, he did it. Yeah, so I mean I can kite him like this all the time. Okay, I see what's happening here. Okay, so effectively, yeah, okay, so he tried to trigger attack 3. Okay, let's just stop that. So we need a priority system, right? We needed to tell it to prioritize certain attacks over others, perhaps. Or maybe to put the attacks in a queue or something like that. So what's kind of happening is the attack's being triggered. So attack 3 is being triggered, right? But before we get to... So a couple of things can happen. It's being triggered, but one of the other attacks are still playing, right? So that means that we can't actually set the attack number. Right, and this can happen with attack 2 specifically, right? With attack 1. Because attack 1 is very frequently used, it's very possible that it could be, you are busy using attack 1, and then attack 2 triggers, but, it doesn't really take the trigger, or attack 3 triggers, but, it doesn't really take the trigger. So I wonder if we should... Yeah, so we should be able to set triggers. Nah, it's a bit... How can we solve this? Yeah, so currently we're just doing this, right? Where we like, okay. Because we know we did trigger attack 3 a couple of times, yeah. I didn't change it in my manager, but we know we did. But it comes here, it tries to trigger 3, and it's like, can't really, because we're currently not in between attacks, right? That's what attack 0 means. We are in between attacks. Okay, we don't want to interrupt an attack. That's bad. But maybe we want to append the attacks to a queue. That would be kind of interesting. So if I made here where we set attack number, we make a queue, and it then goes through every single number in the queue and then takes it off. But now what I'm thinking is then we might create a very long queue of attacks, which could be bad. Okay, I'll be right back. Need to go to the restroom. I'll think about it in the meantime. And I'm back. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. There we go. Okay. So, I have this problem. The attacks kinda do their own thing. Well, no, that's not really what I meant to say. Don't have priority necessarily. So the attack 3 is gonna happen very seldomly, right? Attack 1 very often. What if we do it actually here? Yeah, what if I do this? I just had a plan. Yeah. Okay, so we could do a private void. Then we can do just let's call it a handle attack function, right? And it needs something. Do we take an integer? And that's the attack number. This might be unnecessary. Yeah, so what if we go here to our animator, and it just, instead of just saying, look, okay, the attack number is not 0, so we set the attack number, right? So what I'm thinking is, if we do an if statement and we know, let's say, so we say if attack number is 3, then we set that first. If it's 2, we set 2. If it's 1, we set 1. That doesn't make too much sense. So the if statements won't really prioritize anything necessarily. Yeah, I think this is just going to be the way it is. I don't know. Maybe it is just the way it needs to be. Okay, let's just go back here. Okay, let's just play with it a little bit. Like, I just need to think about this, whether or not it's actually even a problem, you know. So you know what I think the problem is? Yeah, I think I know now what the problem is. Okay, so he does attack 2 because that's the first one he got. Attack 3 also went on cooldown at the same time. If I stand there, he's going to do attack 1 most of the time. Oh, and he did attack 3 by accident. Okay. So you know what the problem is? Here's the problem. When it triggers, so if you go to the attack trigger script, right? Basically, this is what happens. It triggers, and this trigger doesn't know that any of the other triggers might have been, is, or hasn't been, or whatever triggered already. So I think this is the issue. So we start the cooldown. So let's say attack 2 is triggered, and then attack 3 is triggered straight after. So the cooldown for attack 2 starts, and then attack 3, even though it hasn't actually started, it didn't happen, it couldn't have happened, right? it still starts the cooldown. And that's the problem. If it doesn't start the cooldown, that's not a problem. Then I can live with it. But it starts the cooldown, so that thing goes on a 10-second cooldown, and it's very easy for another attack to interrupt it again. So what I'm thinking is we should have a way to check if one of our other attacks have already been used, something like that. Or the cooldowns should only start when the attack has really been executed. So currently the cooldown starts if this attack trigger thing figures out that it worked, right? And that's not good enough. We want the cooldown to only start if it really did the attack. Okay, so how do we know if the attack really happened? Well, the best way is to go to the animator events and figure out if the attack happened, right? Unfortunately. Okay, so the stop doing action is good enough, I guess, for some of this. Ooh. Okay, so for instance here we have a hit with an attack number. So this could be good enough for our purposes. Right, let's see when hit is played. Yeah, so basically gonna have to go to this guy and put all these trigger areas into it, which is fine. We already kind of did that. Yeah. So with this guy, let's say attack 1. So hit. Wait, this is a foot, and then this is a hit. Okay. Might be able to work with hit. Okay, let's work with hit. Right? So let's just take this thing out of debug, put it into normal. Let's get this hit function. So this is attack 1. Okay, and then this is attack for hit is attack 2. Okay, this on this thing over here, this is also attack 2. And then this one, where do you hit? You never hit. Nah, we can add it there. You can move this around if we feel like it's a bit weird. So we can do hit here. And this is attack 3. Okay, so basically these will now trigger our hit function. Not in there, over here. It'll trigger our hit function. This one. And okay, we can invoke, based on that, we can invoke these if we want to plug it in like that. Or we can do yeah, we can do something Sound manager we might need. Let's get rid of these quickly. Okay, so yeah, but I don't need those. They weren't used. All right, so basically what we need, we could do serialized field, private CBE attack, CBE attack. Okay, and this can be attack 1. Okay, and then we do this 3 times. Attack 1, attack 2, attack 3. Okay, so we get that. And basically, when we hit, we don't really care about the invokes at this point, because I'm not plugging them in like that. Although I could. I could plug them in, or I could do them. Okay, so basically what we want here is, instead of this happening, we want a function. And this function is going to be called, let's call it the public void start cooldown. Start cooldown, right? Okay, and basically what it's going to do is it's going to set the attack CD, attack on CD to true. Right, and then all of this can be taken out. Okay, so now the attack on cooldown, no, equals true. Okay, so let's see what happens here. So we do an attack, right? The attack wasn't on cooldown. Okay, so that's fine. We can attack. We attack, and then during the animation, if the animation actually played, we can put the attack on cooldown and start the timer. And in some cases, the animation won't actually play because it was overwritten by one of the other attacks. The faster, whichever attack came first. Okay, so that's fine. And now we can do here, we can do something like if attack number equals 1, we reset. So we do attack 1 dot start cooldown. Okay, and we do else if attack is equal to 2. We do attack 2 start cooldown. And then finally else if attack was equal to 3. We do attack 3 start cooldown. Close that out. So we invoke it and we just check, which one was it. And depending on which one it was, we can start the cooldowns for each of those. So now unfortunately, it's not a big deal, right? But we just need to drag all of those into this. So attack 1, attack 2, and attack 3. So now we shouldn't be wasting cooldowns unnecessarily. Right, and that is basically what we need. Okay, so none of the other behaviors should have changed. I say that, we'll see. Okay, so let's select the ranger. So here he comes. Okay, attack 2 should trigger first. Okay, then he doesn't do anything else. So let's look at our triggers. So attack 1. Okay, wait, let's do debug so we can see if the timers are running. So attack 2's yeah, that timer is running. What about attack 3? Not quite. So we must be just outside of the trigger zone for attack 3. So if I move a little bit, I should be able to trigger attack 3. Okay, I did not. Interesting. Okay, there it worked. If I run around here trying to dodge him, he tries hitting me with that one, tries hitting me with that one. Okay, so both attack trigger for attack... Okay, so let's analyze this. So attack trigger is still true for attack 3. The attack timer is set to 0. We are not on cooldown. But I'm also in the zone. So let's see how that works. So there's some logic that's still a bit broken here. So effectively, attack trigger is still true, which means if this is true and this is true, this won't happen, even then that's the case. Okay, so let's see. So when this ran out, the trigger should have been set to false. Okay, so let's see. So the timer ran out, the trigger was set to false. And then maybe it was set to true again. But we didn't go on cooldown because we didn't do the attack. Okay, so what that means is that not only should the cooldown work with this, so only if the attack actually happened should we make the attack trigger change. Because it triggered, made this true, then it will never trigger again. So it'll never invoke and try. Yeah. Yeah, so we should actually only change the attack trigger. This is quite interesting. Right, so that means this player character in trigger zone thing might have to keep track of that. Yeah, because what's happening now is it switched it over to true, but it never actually attacked, so we never did the cooldown, so the cooldown couldn't trigger it either. Okay. So basically what we should be saying is like, look, okay, fine. Let's suppose the attack trigger is true, and we are on cooldown. So our cooldown ran out, so we are not on cooldown, right? We can attack. And the attack trigger is true. Then we should also be able to invoke this. Yeah, because currently, so we do if player is in trigger zone, and we don't want this flipping on, and we don't want to send. So let's think the other thing that could happen is this thing could send continuously, which is kind of the problem. So it goes, okay, the player is still in the trigger zone. Now before we did this, it would then tell so we have this toggle thing, but it will tell the, it'll invoke this, And it'll basically say, look, that the player's here, the player's here, the player's here, the player's here. But now what we're trying to do is we're just trying to tell him when the player's in or out of the trigger zone. But now I think actually we can get rid of this behavior. We can basically get rid of this. Right? And all we have to ask is, okay, is the player character in the trigger zone and are we on cooldown? If both of those are true, okay, are we not on cooldown? If both of those are true, you can tell the guy to hit him. Okay, and we don't have to change anything there for now. That also means this is redundant. Because now, as soon as this becomes false, we can attack. We don't need the attack trigger as well. So, but if this is false, even if we are on cooldown, we can't trigger this. Okay, so we can't trigger the attack, which means, basically what that means also is that if you go to the manager, this part will never happen. So we'll never set it back to idle with an attack trigger. Okay. And that could be okay. Right? Because I'm sure there's another way of setting us back to idle. I think all of these attacks go back to idle automatically anyway. So I think this is gonna work actually great. So let's see if my logic works. So we should see the Crocodile attempting all of his attacks, hopefully. Unless he just doesn't want to get closer for some reason. But let's see. Let's see what this does. Okay, Ranger, you are our guinea pig. So here he comes. Okay, I expect attack 2 from him. I don't expect anything else. I'm not in range for anything else. Once I do that, I should be able to see attack 2 and attack 3. Okay, so he should do another attack 2 and then immediately an attack 3 almost. Yep. And if I stand there, so now I'm in all the zones. Let's see. So he's going to do a couple of attack 1s. He does an attack 2. He tried to do an attack 3 there, but it was interrupted. Hey, look at this guy. He's using all of his attacks. He's using all of his attacks. This is amazing. How did I do it? I don't know. Okay, let's just... Yeah, look at this. Yes, like it. This bird is getting beaten up. Okay, let's run away and see if everything else still works. So he runs after us like the angry crocodile he is. He tries attack 2 because that's the one with the most range. Then attack 3 is next. Okay. He doesn't try to move in closer. Hey, Mr. Gene. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I completely understand, eh? Our lives get a little bit busy sometimes. But thanks for popping in and saying hi. Look at my cool crocodile boss. He doesn't do damage yet, but soon, you know, soon. But enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a restful sleep. Yeah, it's a bit hard, eh? You guys with night starting when my day starts. Okay. Okay, so this... Whoa. My man. Chill out. Okay, so there's one scenario where I think he bugs out a bit. I think it's when I get too close. Ah, come on. Frogs. He did something funny just now. How did I trigger that? Hey, look at him do the full combo. He did the full combo. He's going to do the full combo. There we go. This crocodile's coming along, eh? Goody, goody. Okay, let's see if we can get our character to try and shoot at the crocodile. So it's on the boss enemy layer. So I think the characters do not trigger attacks currently on that layer. So let's just go look at the attack trigger zones for our various characters. Night attack trigger. Yeah, so we just need to add here enemy boss. I absolutely love working with strings, because now what the hell did I call this thing? Is it enemy boss or boss enemy? I can't remember. I don't know. It's boss enemy, of course it is. Okay, so boss enemy. Okay, so we need to set this for all the other attack trigger zones. I'm not a fan of the way I'm doing this, right? Because every time I need to change something, I need to go look through all my code, get the ranger attack trigger now. Be like, okay, you need to add a boss enemy, and then I need to get the wizard attack trigger. Yeah. See, kids, this is what happens when you don't know how to code properly. You don't know how to structure your code or to architect your application, and then this kind of stuff's happen where you have to copy code everywhere. It's hard. My second game will be better. Okay, so let's see if they can at least attack the crocodile. Now, I'm expecting some things to break once I attack the crocodile. Mainly because I don't think the crocodile can take damage yet. But that should be easy, because there is a enemy take damage script, which I think works for all of them. Just need to put the pop-up for the damage in there. Ugh, come on. Okay, wait. Let's just apply all prefab variant to parent. Oh no, what did I just do? Undo that. I just realized what I did. Whoopsie. Let's apply all these, yeah. Okay. Okay, so now there should be a script there. Let's go to the damage number mesh. Plug it in there. So we should be able to do damage to the crocodile. It's probably going to break. Apply hit. So it does this thing. There's a damage timer that works pretty well. Can take damage. Oh, there's an on-god hit event thingy. Oh, here's the argument. Jeez, like I. Okay, so we have a damage source and we have damage. Okay, but we are not listening for this event, so the crocodile won't take damage right now. Which is fine. We just want him to get hit, at least, to trigger an attack, right? So we can go through all our characters and see if this works. Also, once he's working, I'll start adding sound effects and visual effects. I'm kind of looking forward to that, if I'm honest. Okay, let's take the chicken. Here he comes. He hits me. See if I can hit back. I can hit back, and I can kite him totally. Ah, ha, ha. Now, you can't deal with the chicken. Oh, he does a big attack. That's so cool. Okay, let's go destroy the totem so we can get the next guy to spawn in. Oh, this guy's gonna come alive once I have sound effects, right? I can't wait. I think I'm working on this game later today off stream. Let's be honest, because this is too cool now. Hey, he's doing his big attacks. Oh, you know what the next thing is he should do? He should dash. Because I don't want to just run away from him all the time. I mean, I should run away from him, right? That's the smart thing to do. But I think he should have a dash as well. So then, if he gets frustrated with me just running around, he'll actually jump at me. Okay, cool. We got the chicken. Let's get the ranger out. Okay, she does shoot. Wait, why did she only shoot twice? Hello? What's happening, Ranger? What's wrong? Okay, something interesting is happening here. With the Ranger specifically. We are obviously in range. It should be triggering. That's kind of weird. Okay, so the Ranger is bugged. The attack trigger for the Ranger doesn't work. For the boss enemies specifically. That's very strange. Okay. Like, she continues to shoot at totems. Huh. I wonder what's up. What's up with you, my man? Okay, there's something happening with the mesh. The nav mesh. That's very interesting that the ranger doesn't want to trigger the attack. Let's test the wizard quickly. There should be a quick compile. Come on, I just didn't change anything. Okay, let's get the wizard out. Okay, he's in the mood. Let's see if he continues attacking. Yeah, like he doesn't have a problem. Okay, so the ranger's a bit funny. Okay, the wizard's gonna have a problem if he doesn't get some attack speed going. Fortunately, like when he triggers the attack, he's not quite in range. Well, that was a bit in range. Okay, there's something interesting happening there. Sometimes it seems like he skids along the floor, even though he should really stop when he attacks, right? Yeah. Okay, and I can... I don't do damage though. Oh. So there is a fireball, which also needs to do to know that it needs to shoot something, right? So if we go to weapons, we have an arrow projectile and a fireball projectile. So we have to go to the arrow projectile and I think it's in the damage. Yeah. It doesn't know that it can do damage to boss enemy. You can totally do damage to boss enemy, guy. Okay, and the fireball I think has the same problem. I should really spend some time organizing my scripts. This is terrible. Like, where the hell is this fireball? It should be in weapons. I think there's a weapons folder for scripts. Maybe. Crocodile, 9 player, range, UI, wizard. Am I just being dumb? Oh, only for prefabs there's a weapons folder. Okay, so where is this script actually then? Fireball manager. That's just in assets, guys. It's just inside of assets, obviously. Okay, you need to do damage to that guy as well. Okay, let's go check what the ranger's problem is. I see I didn't save it. That could have been the problem. Aye. Yeah, because this should just work, right? So, boss enemy. Because if it works for everything else, all I'm doing is just adding another layer, another thing to the layer mask. And I didn't change any of the... Yeah, so we're doing this check sphere with each of these physics spheres. And then if one of them are true, that means there's an enemy in the trigger area. If there is, we can invoke the attack trigger. And we flip the attack trigger. Yeah, ignore this. This was done before I had my breakthrough. Which I only got with the crocodile. Okay, let's see. Okay, so now you should take damage from arrows and from... And actually, I want to check something with the arrow, now that I think about it. Because the projectile itself... Right? It's hitting... yeah, that's just the... Yeah, it's just the prefab. This one. Yeah, so there's the collider for the tip of the arrow. And it's actually getting stuck in the... So, enemy layer. Name to layer. Okay, I didn't do a... I just did an enemy layer here, not a layer mask, it seems. Okay, so what am I doing here? Transfer fly, blah, 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 can despawn. Stop arrow. Okay. So, you know, I could switch this off. So is it flying? Okay, we set is flying to false. Okay, oh, that's fine. We do transform dot position. Okay, we let it go a little bit forward. We make the kinematic, the body kinematic. We attach it to the thing it collided with. We get component collider. We make it false. We set the... Okay. So that's fine. Where do we use this enemy layer? So stop arrow on collision, enter. No idea where I'm using that. It's not in the damage script, I don't think. So I have this in the damage script, yeah. The layer mask stuff, right? So this is normal. This is what I always do. I can't remember why I have the enemy layer in the projectile movement, because it's not used anywhere, right? I set it here. Who knows? Okay, let's everything is saved, right? There's nothing not saved here. Okay, let's go. Let's get out of this thing. Let's go play with the ranger, see if we fix that bug with the attack. I think I've done it, but I don't know. We'll see now. Okay, Robin, let's woo. Let's go. So we're shooting. Okay, we're having some problems here. Okay. So the arrows are continuously doing damage at some fixed rate until that's very interesting. Where do I do this then? Is it in the spawner? So the arrow spawner. Does it use this thing somehow? I don't know. It doesn't look like it does. So enemy layer. Yeah, this is not doing anything. Oh, you know what? You know what? I think I know where I did this. In the arrow itself. So in the prefab. So if we open the arrow prefab again. Right here. Exclude layers, players, enemy, boss enemy. Yeah, so it doesn't get stuck in any of those. Right, but then again, the totem, they get stuck in the totem, but it doesn't break anything. So maybe when we stop, we should just disable the damage zone. Actually, now that I think about it, right? So if this thing stops. The damage zone should be disabled, right? That makes sense to me. And so we do something like serialized field, private, arrow, projectile damage. Yeah, arrow projectile damage, that's fine. And basically when we stop, we just set it, we just disable this. Arrow projectile damage dot game object set active false. Right? So that should at least, when the arrow gets stuck in something, it shouldn't continuously apply the damage while it's sitting there. Okay? And I can also remove this, because this means it can go through players and enemies. That's fine, but I don't want it to go through the boss enemy I don't think. I think it's cool if it gets stuck in the boss enemy. Now let's see the totem. Yeah, so the building, the totem itself doesn't have this problem. So I'm assuming I made the script a little bit differently, the damage script. So even when the arrows get stuck in this thing, it doesn't really take damage the same way. So if we look at take damage, so there's still this timer. Okay, and that makes sense. Apply hit. Can take damage. Set to false. Can take damage. Because I believe this is very interesting. I don't see the issue. Okay. Okay, let's try it. Let's see. So I want the arrows to get stuck. I think they do get stuck in the totem, if I'm not mistaken. They should get stuck in the totem, right? But somehow the damage wasn't applied continuously. So it's something different between the enemy take damage script and the... Yeah, who knows? Okay, there we go. Null reference exception. What a good time. Oh yeah, we needed to... Yeah, okay. We needed to change the prefab a little bit. Arrow projectile. Let's open you up. So right there, we just need to put in the damage zone so we can disable that. Whoops-a-daisies. Okay, let's try this again. Good old null reference exception. Okay, Robin, let's see what you do. Okay, so we get stuck. We're not doing damage because we're getting stuck in the weapon, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, look at that. I can make them stick it to the weapon. That can be kind of annoying. Okay, but she does do the damage now. And if we pause, we can see in our crocodile we have arrows sticking out. Okay, and the arrows are obviously not penetrating through him. Okay, which is good because he's big and bulky. Arrows don't go through him. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay, I don't want the arrows to hit the weapon though. Let's see if we can select the weapon. You're on default. Yeah, it kind of feels a bit bad. Okay, let's add a layer for weapons, I guess, so they don't get stuck. Or, you know, actually, no, we don't need to add a layer. This weapon just doesn't need a collider, to be honest. That's the correct. Yeah, no, it doesn't. It doesn't need a collider. If it doesn't have a collider, then the arrows can't get stuck in it. Okay. So that's quite a bit of the functionality working. So the next thing I would say is to have the crocodile now actually do damage. Right. So this will happen in our attack trigger area. So maybe we should have attack radius, and we should also have a serialized field Private. Now, this is a bit controversial probably, because I should have made this. Do we do this in integer? I think so. I think these are integers. Let's go to scriptable objects for the other guys, and then we can see quickly. So enemy stats, damage is an integer. Yeah, let's keep it that way. Okay. Okay, so the damage will be a serialized field, so I can tweak it if I wanted. Now, here's the thing. I should have this in a scriptable object, potentially, right? So that I can tweak these numbers and balance the guy or whatever. I don't think it's absolutely necessary, because I won't have... Nah, it probably is. So for the other characters, I have the scriptable objects to make them stronger, etc. So I edit the scriptable object when the wave continues longer, etc., etc., so that they can get stronger. For the Crocodile, maybe I just want him 1 strength. Right, he's a boss. He's a set amount of strength. But maybe I do want to change it also in the future, so I should build in the possibility for that. Okay. For now, let's just have him do 10 damage, right? So we should think about when exactly does the damage get applied. Okay, so we can not necessarily do it on attack trigger. We might do it on cooldown. So when the cooldown happens, that's when the hit function happens, right? So then we should actually have another function here. Call it a private void apply damage function. Right. And we're going to use the same kind of idea that the knight does, right? So the knight has this: hit enemies in attack zone. Let's copy this, and then we can work with it from this side. Okay, apply damage. You know, we can call it hit player or character. It's called player. Player in attack zone. Okay. Enter. Okay, so what does this do? So first of all, it gets all the colliders. So we'll call this player colliders. Player player collider. You know what? Actually, we could take the bomb, I think. Because the bomb needs to do the same thing. Let's go to the bomb manager quickly and just see how it does it. So explode, it runs this very simplistic function. Just take this one. And I think this does the same thing, yeah, but there's different types of enemies, so that's why it's more complicated. Okay, so this needs to go away, and that needs to go away, and then we can do an alt tab. No, not an alt tab. Shift tab, I think. I can't remember the shift tab. Yeah, alt tab. Okay. Okay, so this is the function. Okay, so we basically get player colliders. Player colliders. We do an overlap sphere. Okay. And over here, what we insert instead is the attack radius. Okay, so we do the attack radius there. So we do the position of the zone. The attack radius, we use the player layer. Okay, the player layer, I think I already, yeah, this is already defined. And then we just have to apply the hit to the player using our attack damage. And Bob's your uncle. This is actually all we needed to do. How's it? Try catch TV. How are you doing? Hey, rating with a party of 19. Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. No, I'm good. I am good, thank you. Finally getting the boss of this game working. It's kind of it's been a bit of a challenge, I would say that much. Oh wow, this thing is really thinking about it right now. Oh, wait, I'm never invoking this function. Damn it. Okay, so, yeah, hit player in attack zone. Let's just do that on cooldown, right? So if the cooldown has actually happened, well, if the attack goes on cooldown, then we should also have the player take damage, right? Because that means the attack did go through. Okay, but it's only going to take damage if it's actually in the attack zone still, right? So this should be fine. Let's see how quickly we die to the... Wait. What? Why is it giving me this now? I'm sure I made a semicolon. I did. It seems like I did. Okay. Let's see how this goes. And if this goes well, we can reactivate all the other enemies and just play a little bit for fun. Although I can't kill the boss yet, so that might not be so fun. But let's try. Let's see at least if I take damage. He takes damage, he doesn't lose health, so that's the problem. And I do take damage and lose health, so that's an issue. Okay, let's take the chicken for a spin. Yeah, the boss comes. Let's see. He does 10 damage, 10 damage. Okay, yeah, and there's no sound effects, so this is very underwhelming. And I do 10 damage. Yeah, but I am losing HP. So when he lands a hit, I take damage. Right, so that was a miss. I should maybe change the hitboxes a little bit so it looks a bit more, you know, better. I should definitely add visual and sound effects, right? Okay. For all the new viewers, let me show you guys what the game is actually looking like. Because just looking at the boss could be quite boring, because he's very much still a work in progress. But the rest of the game is a little bit more than that. Okay, so 5 enemies per 10 seconds. I'll probably die very quickly. Let's make it 3. And I did this in the wrong place. Of course I did. Let's make it 3 over here. Hellraiser, thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow. Okay, watch this. Okay, watch Unity try to load. Okay, smells like swamp. So we're expecting a lot of frogs. The owl wizard would be the go-to for this type of job. Now, there might be too many frogs even for him. I don't know. But his fireball does deal with them at range, which is pretty nice. we need to... So the point is, right now, we need to destroy these totems to get them to stop spawning. And only when we've stopped the spawning can we level up our character, select the next character, etc., etc. Okay, too many frogs. Okay, just keep moving, keep moving. Okay, here we go. There's the other totem, or the other camp at least. There should be a totem around here. There it is. Die. Okay. And another shot. Okay. That's just the warning. They are powering up. So, there's some incentive to try and actually finish a level. Because you can imagine that you can just stand around here farming frogs. But they are getting stronger the longer I wait. Yes, like it, this guy is slow. But this is kind of the thing with the wizard. He's not a speedy boy. Oh, I should go down. They're doing way too much damage right now. Once more. Okay, we got rid of all the totems. Now I just need to clear out the remaining frogs. These guys are a bit buggy. I don't know what their problem is. There's one more, probably one of these slow frogs. I really need to go figure out why they do that sometimes. Okay, so we've leveled up. Let's just take movement speed for the wizard because he's way too slow. The ranger, we can make her shoot faster because his attack speed's nice for the ranger. And, you know, movement speed for the knight, also not bad. And some damage. So, it smells like swamp again. I know from experience and from making the game that the chicken knight's going to have a tough time dealing with frogs. Because he's melee. These guys don't want to get close. The ranger will fare a little bit better. So, let's take out the ranger. She's also nice and quick, right? So, this is not so bad. Can run around. Then I can shoot them at range. If I can aim. Come on, aim. There we go. Okay, we can do the same thing. There we go. Okay, let's see. Finish this off. Then I can show off the chicken. And then you have an idea of what the game looks like right now. Now, there's obviously still a lot of work to be done here. Need to beautify the levels. We have a little bit of a rain effect here, which is kind of nice. Need to make the level nicer. I'll need to do quite a bit of work on the progression, I think, still. It's not so bad right now. Yeah, so there's a lot of frogs. It's a good thing I have the ranger. She can at least, you know, keep her distance. And obviously, eventually, so the point is, you kind of have to farm these guys to some degree. To get stronger, you get more levels. The levels get harder. You know, good old survivor roguelike type game. And then eventually, you meet the boss enemy and you have to get rid of him. Okay. Just like, okay, they're quite a bit stronger now. I don't one-shot them at all. I can't aim. Why is it so hard? Yeah. Okay, where's the remaining frogs? These buggy. Oh, he's stuck in a tree. Oh, did I change the mesh? Ach, the nav? Okay. Got rid. Temperate, so the frogs and lizards should be in similar quantities. Okay. Unfortunately, we didn't gain a level for the knight, only for the ranger. But that's okay. Let's give her some more attack speed and damage with the rest of the points. And let's show off the knight. So here we go. Yes, this is our chicken knight. Yeah, we can see if he can actually get rid of these guys. So he has no problem with the lizards. They come in close. He smacks them. No problem. Get rid of that totem. Okay, so the idea would also be that with the level ups being one way to power up, you can also get items eventually. And it's not going to be like a store type item deal. It's going to be items that drop or they hidden somewhere in the world. So it's up to you to go and find the items to be able to utilize them. And the idea might be that the items are only available if the totems are still up. So you can't, for instance, destroy all the totems and enemies until there's only one frog or lizard left that you can kind of ignore and go look for the items, right? So if you want to look for the items, you have to keep the frogs and lizards around. If they are still around, that's obviously... Oh, you have to keep the totems around, which means more and more frogs and lizards will spawn. And this can obviously become a bit of a problem for you. Okay, Chicken Knight's still doing fine. Let's get rid of these oaks. Okay, and there's a buggy frog somewhere in the map. Is it you? Yeah, it was him. Smells like swamp, so we're expecting a lot of frogs for this round. We can upgrade the knight, so we can give it more damage, right? And since it's a swamp now, we take out the owl wizard again. Now, he's faster, so it's not so bad, right? Okay. A lot of frogs. And each wave does get harder, so you'll see the spawn rate has increased already. Okay, that's pretty much the game for now. It's a start of something. Okay, where's this crocodile? Let's get him back in there. So this guy desperately needs visual effects and sound effects, because he just feels he falls kind of flat right now. It is time for me to, however, get ready for work. It's morning right now. It's 6:30. So I need to go sit in traffic for a bit to get to work, unfortunately. So thank you for watching. Trycatch, thank you for the raid. I do appreciate that quite a bit. Let's see if I can maybe pay it forward, if I can raid somebody. Before we do that, we should just get in here and see. Okay, so the AI, we're still working on that. That's also still a work in progress. We need to desperately add sound effects and add visual effects. Let's add VFX, right? For our boss enemy. Okay, we have still this bug, I remember now. And that's it. So I'm just going to put that on my to-do list for next time, or maybe later today, if I feel like it. Let's stop our time tracker. So we have finished for today with working on this, so we can stop that. And yeah, thank you for joining me. Unfortunately, not a lot of streaming after the raid, because, you know, I have to go to work. But I do appreciate you guys popping in, and I can send you on to the next person. Let's see if there's somebody I know online right now that we can maybe go and raid. There is. Okay, this guy's building a pretty cool game in Unreal. Very nice art. Very Very cool looking game. So I'll be sending you to Imaginary Villain with his steampunk-esque looking Tim Burton doll game. It's pretty freaky, but it's cool. Okay, thank you so much for watching, guys. I do appreciate it, and I will see you tomorrow. I will be back at the same time in the same place. Let's do one of these and start the raid. There we go.
Probably more because it's loading a bunch of stuff in the other room. So 1 second, and I'll respond back to that. Yeah, I have 828 actors. That's not bad. It's not supposed to be daytime, of course, but I don't care about that. Oh.
Okay,
Thanks
let's.
for the raid, Room Kamsa. How's it going? I've been interesting time for my hope of converting this over to like DirectX 12 Nanite and optimizing for Nanite, so it's not horrible. I've actually raised the FPS by about.
I need to end the stream still on YouTube. Whoopsie.
200% or something. So quite a bit. Basically, almost 30 FPS gain. Unfortunately, I kind of played with all the lighting because DirectX 12 does lighting differently. Also, hard to play here. No. I'm wanting to as well. Actually, 9:34 p.m. for me, so I guess my day is just beginning for the most part. Pretty good. As you can see,